So, Michael, my first question to you before we talk about the movie, what was your first role slash TV industry?
All right, you cut out a slightly bit, but I believe what you said was my first role in the film and TV industry. Is that right? Okay. So the first thing I did, I played young Niles on an episode of Frasier, which was a sitcom that was for the kids who don't remember, very popular in the late '90s. As a kid, I was very good at impressions. That's kind of what I'd say catapulted me into being an actor in the first place. So I happened to get very lucky. I got in the room. I did this impression of Niles better than any other 10-year-old at the time. And, once that was on my resume, Frasier was like #1 show in the country at the time, then it really opened up other opportunities. And then I just kind of started building my career a brick at a time from there.
You play Jody in the upcoming film, The Last Shootout. What attracted you to this role?
It's a really fun role. So basically, like it's the modern equivalent of the rich kid who gets pulled over and says to the cop, "Do you know who my daddy is?" That's basically who we're dealing with. You take that guy and you put him in the Old West, then you got yourself Jody Callahan. No, it's great. I mean, he's a guy who comes from a very powerful family, and as a result has a deep inferiority complex, and instead of dealing with his own issues, he just sort of lashes out at the world, and tries to play all the cards that somebody like that would play. So he's a very scary character. He's a very bad guy, but as an actor, it's really fun to get to kind of dive into what makes a guy like this tick. Because you can't just, you can't just play a bad guy. That's not nobody approaches life like that. There's always a reason that people are the way they are. And for Jody, it was fun to kind of find that.
Yeah, that's my next question to you is what finding fun in that villainous role. Is it fun? Because obviously acting is acting, right? You know what I mean? I think sometimes people forget those sorts of things, and you're just playing a role. How different is it kind of preparing for a villainous role versus maybe a hero-like role?
Yeah, it's really just a matter of rewiring your thinking to sort of find the logic of your character, So, I like to generally think of myself as someone who tries to be an ethical and moral person, right? But at the end of the day, like, everyone is approaching things in the way that ultimately is going to sort of best benefit them. So it really, the only difference I would say is just sort of like just rewiring your thinking a little bit, to maybe take some of the empathy out, take some of the compassion out, and then you just find, like, what is the through line? What is the logic? Why would someone think and behave like this? And then you just kind of build it out from there. So I don't know that there is a fundamental difference in how you approach, a good guy versus a bad guy. I think it's really just case by case, and you figure out what makes this guy tick.
So obviously, when the time comes, we kind of get in those moments of shooting and stuff. Like, what is it like being inside like a Western?
Oh God, it's the best, man. I mean, I don't like to generalize, but I feel like it's every actor's dream to work in Westerns, because it's just like, it's such a fun, I mean, who as a kid didn't play cowboys? You know what I mean? Like, everybody loves that. And then, so to get to actually do that as an adult, I can't, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, the outfits are great. Being in kind of that open space is great. Like, the crunch of the dirt underneath your boots, the hat, the accent, like the dirt on your face, the sweat, like everything about it is so much fun to just totally immerse yourself into that world and buy into those circumstances and just kind of live there. You know what I mean? So I love it, man. I mean, Westerns, I've mentioned this before, but like, if I could just exclusively be a Western actor, I'd be a happy guy, honestly.
Right. It's like, I feel like we have, over the last maybe 2-3 years, we've had that rebirth of Westerns, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of really good ones that have come out. So it's kind of nice to because when you watch the 30s and 40s, there was a lot of those back, and that was the kind of the central focus of what a lot of films came out with. So it's kind of cool to see it have a little bit of a resurgence, right?
Oh, 100%, man. There's been some great westerns coming in the last few years for sure. And even on TV, like I mean, Yellowstone is like the most popular show in the country right now. So yeah, I'm very happy to see that, and hopefully I'll be in one or two more before it's all said and done.
What was it like playing next to Bruce Dern?
Oh man. Well, Bruce Dern, I mean, I don't have to explain who that is. It's a Hollywood legend. Been around forever, been in everything, worked with everybody. He, at this point in his career, you know, has kind of earned the right to run the set the way that he wants to, if that makes sense. So you really have to be on your toes. He's going to do something different, each take. The dialogue may not be the same. Like he's just going to do what he wants to do because he's Bruce Dern, and he's earned that. And it's going to add to your movie, whatever sort of magic he's going to bring to the table. So as an actor, it's a lot of fun to really you just got to stay on your toes. You got to listen, and you have to be willing to, improvise or do whatever you got to do to play off a guy like that and just, make the scene as strong as possible. And on top of that, man, just he's got so many great stories, and he's just a fascinating guy. I mean, he's like so proud of his family. He's always talking about, Laura and her accomplishments, and so yeah, it was a real honor and a real pleasure to get to work with somebody like that for sure.
So you reunite with Cam, who you obviously co-starred in the Twilight movie, and I'd be crazy not to bring it up. Has it surprised you those movies continue to be as popular as they are?
Well, here's what's great about it is it's almost 15 years now since that first one came out. So a lot of the people who came up with those movies are having kids of their own at this point, and they're passing it down, and it's always playing somewhere. It's always on TNT or Netflix or wherever. That somebody will buy the rights to show the movies for 3 to 6 months, and so it's constantly on. It still remains part of our kind of collective zeitgeist. And I'll be totally honest with you, I just got back from Paris, France, doing a Twilight convention, and those fans were as excited and loving of those movies now as they've ever been. So I don't think that's going away anytime soon. And gosh, man, I am just so grateful to be a part of something that has connected with people in such a way that it continues to live throughout all these years. I mean, that's truly a really special thing to be a part of as an actor.
Before we go, do you have any upcoming projects you can tell us about?
Yeah, sure, man. So I just finished a movie in New Mexico a couple weeks ago called Hot Seat, and it's with Mel Gibson, Kevin Dillon, who played Johnny Drama in Entourage, Shannon Doherty. It's got this amazing cast, and that was one that was a really, really fun part. I think it's going to be a pretty good movie, and it's going to come out probably. My guess would be at some point next spring, but I don't know. I'll keep people posted as it gets closer. But yeah, that one was really fun to do.